Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Crusader excused, O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Okay. Any public comment back there, Chief?
Oh, you skipped one.
Oh, approve the agenda. Okay, we're going to have to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Three-way tie.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. No public comment. Okay, now we're on accept and approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the March 27th, 2023 regular meeting, Lace's second Saturday special event request, Young Bull hunting request for 2023, the 2023 4th of July special event request, City of Independence Baseball Softball Complex, Class C alcohol license with outdoor service effective from April 10th, 2023 through December 10th, 2023. The Trendy Tulip Special Class B Retail Native Wine License effective April 15th, 2023 through April 14th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Okay, next under financials, approval of the claims. Does anyone have questions regarding the claims? If
So
not,
move.
We have a
Second.
second? Wait, this isn't that. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
It's just a consent item.
Motion carries. Next, we have, under financials, the bank reconciliation, as well as the revenues and expenses to date, which really help. I went over those a couple times this week. Thank you, Susie. Okay, under hearings and ordinances, section 4, electronic transmission franchise ordinance. This is the third and final reading. For those who are not familiar with this, Independence Light and Power has approximately, a half mile, 3/4 of a mile of transmission line that they will be selling to,
They already did.
they've already sold it. This is just our approval of the sale. It's a positive for the city.
Even with the eminent domain part and all that in there, I guess I kind of questioned that
It-
after I
it's
started
more
really
if-
looking at it. Since I've read it 3 times now, all those things are really starting to pop up.
Yeah.
It's more
So-
if they just need to work in the right of way of what they own. That's it. They're not gonna expand.
Right.
What kind of talked about like if your bushes or your trees or something were in their way, they were free to cut that all down. I mean,
They would probably reach out to the homeowner, but
Typically, that's what they've done in the past, because there have been trees that had just
So,
needed trimming.
well, and I think it's important to point out too that that provision applies to those areas that extend or are within any street, alley, or right-of-way or public ground.
Within
So they're not going to
Independence.
enter on private property and do that. It's only within.
it's only in the
Right of way
area
in
that
public
already
areas,
would be
yeah.
under that sort of.
Right.
So if the limbs grow
I
out
just saw
over,
the eminent domain piece and thought, okay, I got to ask a couple questions about this.
Well, sure. But this is governmental. This isn't for private profit. It's a governmental entity that's being served by this.
and the cutting is just like if the branches are getting near the wires and stuff, so for safety due to wind and everything, just cut it out.
I need a motion and second.
Need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Callahan.
Yes.
Motion carries. That is the third and final reading. The ordinance is passed. Next, we have Section 5, resolutions. First resolution is awarding a general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2023. And I would ask Maggie to come forward and provide us with information.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mayor Pro Tem, Council.
Grab the mic and move.
There we go. Is
that better? I'm Maggie Berger with Spear Financial. We did receive bids today for the sale of $3,075,000 of general obligation corporate purpose bond series 2023. Some of you are familiar that in the past, when you've put together a capital improvement plan, we'll go out and do one large bond sale. There usually are multiple purposes included, but we can save on cost of issuance by lumping everything together. There also will be multiple repayment sources usually. So then we provide breakout schedules after the bond sale in the couple of coming weeks so that Susie and her group know where they're paying all of this debt from and how it's going to be paid back. We did receive 5 bids today, and we are recommending the low bid from Robert W. Baird of Milwaukee, Wisconsin at a true interest rate, and it is the revised of 3.3731%. The reason it is revised is that you did a pre-levy resolution that said you were going to levy so much in your budget for the next fiscal year's payment. By doing that pre-levy resolution, interest rates came in lower today than we were anticipating with that pre-levy. So we needed to move principal from the bottom of it up to the top, which is good for you. Saves you a little bit more interest, got you a little bit better interest rate when we do that revision. So the state law requires that we make that adjustment on the day of the sale. If you want to flip past the first page with me, Moody's Investor Service did maintain and keep the A2 rating for the City of Independence. I want to say hats off to your current administration. Your city manager was really thrown off the deep end, doing a ratings call pretty early into his position. He was well prepared. Susie, of course, did a fantastic job as well. She has all the financial background that was needed. This is about a 1-hour call that we do, and then they provide this report for us. We've done a little highlighting. They do talk about your credit profile, that you are a small but stable local economy. Now, remember, when they say small, they're putting you on a global scale, which is comparing you to other cities, counties, schools within the entire nation. They also talk about solid resident income, full value capital. They also have talked in here about debt position, things like that. The one thing I always talk about on that very first page is factors that could lead to a downgrade. We never want you to get downgraded, and that is a material decline in available fund balance and liquidity. So as we've stated before, rating agencies love cash. They want you to be able to cash flow the city for a certain number of months. If there are revenues that are slow in coming in, if there are revenues that are lacking for some reason, they want to know that you're going to be able to keep the lights on and function as a city with those cash reserves, intentionally getting reimbursed probably from a federal program or from those actual dollars coming in, but they want to know that you can maintain and keep moving forward. So there's a whole lot of information in here. All of your debt is fixed and has a fixed rate and is for the long term. One of the areas near the back of this report kind of gets colorful, like in kind of, let's call it a rainbow color, ESG considerations. And so that's environment, social, and governance. You may hear a little bit more in the investment world about ESG. Everyone's putting this into perspective. You rate a neutral to low. That's pretty common for state of Iowa. Where you rate environmentally is a number 3. Social and governance is a number 2. You want your numbers to be low, actually. You want them to be a little bit low. The environmental is just because we do have some natural disasters. We can be prone to tornadoes in this area. We can be prone to flood. You're sitting on a river. Those are the types of things that are going to give you a little bit higher 3 than maybe some other communities. But mainly in Iowa, we're seeing a 3 in that environmental, a 2 in the social and government. So they're telling you you're doing a great job from a governance standpoint, looking at it from like that institutional standpoint. The next page is the rating methodology, and we had a conversation with your administration about this. Your scorecard indicated rating is A1, which is 1 notch higher than what the committee came back and gave you. That doesn't surprise us. You've been in the A2 category for many years. The one area that I'll talk about that, you're not in the AA category yet to kind of get maybe an extra bump up is full value per capita. So they rate that your valuation is smaller compared to, again, a global scale evaluation. Why is that? We believe our cost of living in the state of Iowa is a little bit less, meaning our home values, although we may have gotten assessments recently, our home values are valued less. You know, you can get a lot more house, they say, in Iowa than you can in other states, right? Even just our neighbors to the east of us, so in Illinois. So those are some reasons. I would say from a rating standpoint, demographics are what are keeping you at that double or that single A2 rating. I think to move that needle and get yourself into the A1 category, you're going to need much more stronger financials, and that's meaning cash balances. So then you may get some citizens complaining about the size of your cash balances, but that could be move the needle. Also growing the valuation, which is happening here in the city overall, growing the valuation and possibly bringing up resident incomes, which obviously you at the city level are not capable of doing on your own. So that may just be recruitment of newer businesses that are going to be paying at a higher rate for employment, things like that. So those are just some things I wanted to point out. We're very comfortable with the A2 category. It's a fantastic rating for the city. So again, thank you to your administration for their participation in that. We go back a few pages after the Moody's rating and we come to a page that sort of looks like this for everybody's purposes. And this breaks down the interest rates that were bid. Robert Baird gave you a 4% interest rate all the way down. Again, we made some revisions to the principal that was going to be paid. And at the bottom of the page, of that first page, you can see Robert Baird had over 15 additional bidders with them, meaning this is their syndicate. These were people and investment companies that were interested in your bonds today, and they told Robert Baird, if you buy the deal, we're going to take some of that deal off your hands. We're going to participate. UMB Bank is in there, Cruz and Associate, Country Club Bank. They're all people that probably Matthew is very familiar with in his neck of the prior woods. Those are people. We also see Davenport and Company, Central States Capital Market. These are folks that sometimes decide to put together a group on their own. But at this size of a bond issue, that would be a lot for some of these banks. So they paired up with Robert Baird, and we're happy to see that. I think that's really what led us to the response that we got in interest rate. Page 2 just runs through the rest of them. Everybody was going to bid a 4% interest rate except for Northland Securities. They were a little bit lower at the 3.5 to 3.6, but the Robert Baird bid did give you $141,000 in premium, and that means that they're going to buy down that interest rate by giving you some money up front. Those dollars can be spent not only on the project costs, but also can be spent and put into the debt service if necessary. Usually we're seeing cities spending that on project costs if there's cost overruns or some additional projects that come up as a result of what you're doing. The final page of our packet is your final debt service schedule. These are locked in at the 4%, and I know these are higher than probably what we've looked at over the last 5 to 15 years, but there is a call feature here after June 1st of 2030. That call feature is only at your discretion. That means if interest rates are lower at that time, you would be able to refinance the bonds, refund them out, and may possibly get a lower interest rate for interest savings. If interest rates are higher or are the same that time, you just go ahead and keep paying your debt. If you have money ahead at that time, you could pay down or pay off this bond issue at that point in time. But
So 2030 is when we could repay it without penalty?
correct, repay with, and really repay in general. There is no penalty situation here. Unlike like a bank, you can't pay just a premium to pay ahead. You would have to put that money in escrow, which will cost you some money to do that. But yeah, 2030 is that date. So municipal bonds are held as investments. The people that are giving you the money want to know that they're going to get to hold their investment for a certain amount of time. So with that, I'd answer any questions that you have, and we would recommend you pass this resolution in front of you this evening.
Are there any questions for Maggie? We need a motion and a
To
second.
approve it.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Callahan.
Yes.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, next we have a resolution to approve contract and performance and payment bonds for the 2023. That's just what we did, wasn't it?
This is the street rehab.
This is street rehab project.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions regarding the street rehab?
This is the first phase of the new 5-year plan, correct?
Correct. Mark, would you come forward, give us an additional, just a brush up again?
Yeah, this is the first year of the new 5-year street plan that was passed.
And this is for how many blocks?
This is for
9?
9 blocks.
Okay.
Yep,
And it's 300, and
335,000.
so it's, over the course of time, it's significantly gone up per block.
Yep, yep, it has.
And this will also be crack and seat with all the,
This is on the asphalt street, so this is mill and overlay.
okay, mill overlay.
Yep,
Good.
new curb and gutter, et cetera.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the citizens have been very happy with it for the past 8 years, so. Isn't it 8 years, Debbie, we've done this? This is the 8th?
Yeah, it must be close.
So what's happening with kind of this road over here that really took a beating when we had the diverted traffic on 150? Did we get that all fixed up? Because I know there were people asking if that was.
That's not on the,
so that was evaluated as part of the update to the street condition index that we did. And as those blocks are put into the matrix
Okay.
and part of the 5-year program, not all at once, not all in the first, second, or third year, but as they rated. As you know, there are a lot of other streets in town that are in worse or as bad condition as those are. So we looked at everything again, updated our 2017 condition with what we see today, and that's how we determined the priorities.
I just know there were a lot of questions about that
Yeah,
and
I've
how we were
heard
going to
that too.
proceed with that. So I think as we move along, then that's something we really need to make sure that we're very clear and address well.
Then to my understanding, after this new year is done, you automatically reevaluate for the 5 years down the road?
So we won't reevaluate the streets, we won't go through that work effort because we've evaluated them. But we have a 6th-year program, so that will roll into the new 5th year. And the 7th year that we have will be the new 6th year. So it's going to kind of be a rolling 5-year
Rolling
plan.
factor.
And then every 4 or 5 years, as you said, we'll go through and we'll do a reevaluation. To make sure that there's nothing that's deteriorated faster for whatever reason and needs to be elevated in the sequence of projects. Or if new roads are added, we make sure we get those taken care of and included in the rating, so.
any additional questions for Mark? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second? Roll call.
Moore,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Callahan.
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, a resolution to provide for a notice of hearing on proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 2023 Second Street Southwest Bridge and the 8th Avenue Southwest Pedestrian Bridge Rehabilitation Project, and the taking of bids thereafter, therefore.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Have we received the bids on this yet, Mark, or is this to be?
This is the first step for this project, to set the date for the hearing
Okay,
and authorizing the clerk to publish the notices. This project is scheduled for a May 4th bid letting, so that's when we'll receive the bids. It's on May 4th.
when would work begin then?
So that's going to be kind of up to the contractor. Generally, what we do is we give them a completion date, so it's a completion date-based contract, so that following receipt of the bids, approval by council, getting the construction contract approved, then that gives them the largest window of work time to do the work. So this contract will be a completion date contract similar to the past contracts that work on.
When will the completion date be? Have you guys estimated that yet, or?
So we're gonna set the completion date, is probably be 2 completion dates, and the reason there'll be 2 is that bridge work needs to be done before the temperatures get too cold. So that, the completion date for the deck work itself is gonna be October 1st. The approach paving, the sidewalk, that stuff can extend out into mid-October, so we're gonna have the rest of the project be November 1st.
Okay,
So that gives them a little bit of flexibility, but yet they know the critical item is the bridge deck. They need to get that done before the weather has the possibility of turning.
very good. Thank you.
Okay?
Okay, we have a motion and second on this?
So we need to set a date for hearing is?
No, the hearing date's been set.
It's a motion to approve the resolution to provide for notice of hearing for May 8th.
May
For May 8th?
Yep.
Okay,
That'll be the date. Yep.
okay.
Roll call?
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Callahan,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, next we have other business. ADP payroll services. Kathy, would you provide some information on this?
So this is what we talked about during the committee of the whole meeting. This is what you have included in the packet is the quote that they provided to us based on 80 employees. We based it on 80 employees because our employee count varies throughout the year. You know, during the winter months, we only have 40, 50, maybe 60 total. And then during the summer, when we have all the pool staff on staff, we have considerably more, over 100.
Sure.
So 80 was the number, the average that we came up with for the whole year. So the cost is going to vary throughout the year. ADP bills based on the number of people that you have on payroll at the time you run a payroll. So it will move with that
Yeah.
to make it as accurate as it can be. So, yeah,
And this is a wash. This, I mean, not using the previous
Service.
personnel program.
so, right, so we were paying roughly $2,500 in that neighborhood, maybe even up to $3,000 for G-Works. I think it was $2,500 for the payroll system that we currently have in place. So of that 10,000, knock that off the top right away, you're down to 7,500. We have end-of-life to project, or a program called iWork that was
Yeah.
being used by some other departments. It was a $10,000 annual cost. So we've saved that $10,000 and we're reallocating 7,500 of that towards this is the intent.
Wow, so it's a
So-
$2,500.
So in the end, we'll save about $2,500 when it's all said and done.
Excellent.
So even though we're spending this on a new piece of software for the payroll side, we're still saving about $2,500 overall. That's
Excellent.
how I view it. I think Ralph may view it a different manner.
It's money you're already spending at this time.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, and the overall, you're saving 2,500, but if you wouldn't have went into this, you would have
Could save 10.
not been there.
Sure.
But that's fine, because it's a lot better advanced of everything I read and studied on it.
Yeah.
It's a lot better advanced, and it's the way to go.
Be a much better product for our employees.
Yep.
Is it more user-friendly for them too?
Absolutely.
Much.
And will some of these things be things they can get into and get the information they need? And
On their own without having, yeah.
it's kind of like the
Like we
state of Iowa, like
It's
we
more of a
use,
self-service type portal. Yeah.
which is nice. I didn't realize how nice that would be, that you can go in and if you need something, you just print it out. You
Oh,
don't have
yeah.
to go over it too. Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second. Roll call?
Jensen,
Yes.
Callahan,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, next up, city manager contract agreement. This, just to preface it, this is something we already approved. Most of it, we already approved for Matt when he signed on with us as city manager. This is just an addition to that based on inflation. So if you'd explain what,
It's partially based on inflation. It's really based on the fact that the quotes came in a lot higher than any of us expected they would come in.
yeah.
So we went, you know, my wife and I got 3 different quotes from 3 different moving companies. They ranged from 17,000 down to the 13,000, well, 12,000 for the piece from Lansing up to here. And then 1,000 for the piece from the temporary apartment that I'm in over the permanent house.
Sure.
For here in town.
But we
So-
allocated 10,000. when we
Correct.
signed this contract.
allocated 10,000 when they signed the contract, and the original allocation also included any other reimbursable costs I wanted to apply for, such as the temporary housing, the initial move that I made up here, those things. I have not asked for any reimbursement from the city up to this point. The only thing I'm asking for, and that's the number for the 13,000, is for the coverage of the professional moving services that I need to hire. That's the only thing I'm asking for. I'm not asking for fuel cost, I'm not asking for food cost, lodging, any of that stuff. So,
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Callahan?
Yes.
Houston?
Yes.
Hannah?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
O'Laughlin?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, tiny house lot approval is our next one. Where's this located?
It's a motion to approve the request to build a tiny/small house at 715 Fourth Avenue Northeast.
Okay.
Has anybody drove up
This-
by to see it?
Pardon me?
Has anybody drove up by to see it?
before,
I did.
We gotta have a motion.
before we get into discussion,
Yeah,
we really
yeah.
should have a motion.
Got to have a motion first.
I'll move.
Motion,
Second.
second? Okay.
Okay, I drove by this location. It's a corner lot, and it is a small house right south of where this location is, to my knowledge. And the only discrepancy I have here is it says here, council to build a tiny home on a lot. And the definition of a tiny home, according to our bylaws and everything and zoning, a tiny home is 400 feet or less. And then a little bit further down here, you have build a tiny/small home. Well, a small home is from 400 to 1,000 feet. So they're asking for a tiny home, which is under 400 square feet. 400 square feet is only a 20 by 20 home. The lot is, if I remember correctly, the lot is 60 front and rear and 78 on the sides. So according to planning and zoning,
Across the street.
you have plenty of space, correct?
You have enough space to do a small home. You would not have enough space to build the minimum square footage requirement that's required by the zoning, which I believe is a little over 2,000, or right
Right.
around the 2,000 neighborhood.
Right.
And that's the reason for the request.
And that home that's currently just south of there was before the zoning happened?
Be considered a non-conforming, yeah. Because
My viewpoint on this is, I don't have a problem with tiny homes or small homes, but what I have seen over the years is you have a designated area where the tiny homes basically get built, so like a little subdivision, and tiny homes are all placed in that location. Because the next thing is, evaluation-wise, if you put a tiny home in there adjacent to larger homes, you're gonna bring down the evaluation, correct?
You
Property
could-
value?
Potentially, but not necessarily.
Potentially.
Yeah.
You could potentially, I guess what I would recommend on this is that if the council wants to approve anything on this, that they consider approving a small house be located on that lot rather than a tiny house.
Yes.
Which would fix the zone, I mean, not fix, there's no real issue there to fix, but it would allow them to do something smaller than what the zoning requires, but not so small as to do a 400 square foot tiny house.
Sure.
And you could certainly, via the motion, you could do that.
You own the house in the corner, is that right, Doug?
Yeah,
Are you gonna tear that garage down?
yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna tear that down probably tomorrow.
As a neighbor, what is your feeling?
What's that,
As a neighbor, what is your feeling?
a neighbor?
He owns it.
You know,
Well,
He owns it.
oh, you own the land. Oh, you're talking about the garage.
No, I own it, well, the garage is on the 717, but that garage is gonna come down, it's just an eyesore, it's gonna come down. And then the small house we're building is 676 square feet.
Yeah.
It's not a tiny is what you put on a trailer.
right.
This is, and we built 4 of
Can
them
you,
already.
can you
here
come up
now.
to the microphone for us? Sorry.
We built 4 of them already, over the years, the last 5 years here in town. We had one in the south, west part, and then we got 3 in the northeast.
Sure.
Will it be a slab on grade, or will it have a
Yes.
basement, or what?
No, it won't have a
Slab on-
basement, just slab, yep.
Just slap.
They're
This is
just
what-
a,
And you're-
Planning and zoning,
Yes.
and one person wrote it down, is that right?
what's
That's
that?
what I wondered, why did that person vote it down? What
I
was-
don't
Because
know.
the size of the lot? It's too
Well, the
small.
lot wasn't quite big enough, but with us tearing that garage down. And when I talked to Todd the other day, he said that actually there could have been a 24 by 50 house put on that lot.
Yeah, so there's, the buildable area of the lot is about 24 by
Yeah.
50. So
Yep.
by just taking the setbacks, if you have 10-foot setbacks on both sides, you bring those in, you
Well,
bring
we
the
got-
rear back, and that leaves you with the remaining buildable lot.
Yeah, we have 20, I think where we're at is 28 feet off the back. And then 20, like approximately same thing in front.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're.
Front and rear are both 25.
And we got
in this
plenty on both sides.
Right.
Sure.
But there's a good calling for them, single people.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
What is that, what is the size of that home just south of that corner? Do you know?
no, not for
That-
sure. I
that's
just
probably
bought that
gonna
a
be
couple
much
weeks ago, but it's a small two-bedroom. I think it's about 800 square foot. So, and the houses in the neighborhood are comparable.
Oh, yeah.
So the two lots together are what size?
They would be probably around 70 by 130, 140. I would think.
132.
132.
I think they were both originally 66-foot lots.
66,
And
yeah.
then that one property line got moved on the north side.
Was this Crest, what used to be the Crest House on the corner?
Yes.
Is that who it was? I don't. I just kind of blindly,
Oh, yeah.
that, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, we built 4 of them with the school, and then the school's building some with, I got out of that deal for a little bit, and the school's building them with Jared Donnelly and,
Precision Plumbing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, so. But Steve Bitterman's gonna build this one, so.
Sure.
Said he'll have it done in 2
Is that
weeks.
what's going on in the northwest side?
Yeah. yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they're
So
doing a
these will-
really nice job there.
These will be rental properties?
Yes. I've already had people approach wanting to buy it, and it isn't even built yet, but I don't really wanna sell it,
Well, sure.
so, but,
The one on the northwest side's already sold.
yeah. Well, it is? I thought they were, I
Yeah.
thought they was just gonna. rent it.
I asked one of the contractors when
Really?
I was taking a walk the other day, and they said that when they'll have the grand opening with
Oh,
the
school,
students and
yeah.
everything in a couple weeks, and the end of the month, it's already
that's a good deal.
sold.
Yeah, and I know they bought another lot to build another one with the school next year.
Okay.
Well, thank you for doing this, because based
Yeah.
on our housing study, we have a deficiency,
It
especially
is,
in
yeah.
small-
I mean, there's people didn't even know I was gonna build it yet. And I mean, I've had, like I said, one guy wanted to buy it, and I've had other people approach about renting it, so, there's always a good need for it.
But
And
it's
you
not
said,
a-
you said it's gonna be a 20 by 30,
24 by 26.
24 by 26?
Yeah.
Roughly 600?
676 square feet is what it should
Shy
be.
of 700.
And it comes all furnished with washer, dryer, stove, refrigerator. So,
You've already got 3 or 4
Yeah, I got-
structures in the city
yeah,
already?
yep.
Have you heard any complaints?
no, they're all rental for me. No, we never had any problem.
Okay.
In fact, when I built the one I'm living in, it started out as it was just gonna be the 1 bedroom, and then we ended up, what had happened, we was gonna put a garage over on that side. Well, we couldn't do it, so then we added just more square footage and put another bedroom on that side.
Okay.
So,
Thanks, Doug.
you bet.
Thank you.
A question I have with planning and zoning. According to this, you had 3 in favor and 1 against, but you had 2 people that made the motion, seconded the motion, that never voted. Or am I reading this wrong?
I'm
So,
thinking that they were positive votes?
Yeah, I think the way that Todd did the minutes on this was he was interpreting that because those people made the motion to approve and the motion to second, that they were automatically a yes vote, rather than actually calling it out. I can clarify with him that we should call that out.
Yeah, simply because you can second a motion
And not vote.
and
for
not
it.
vote for it.
Right,
You
yeah.
just want to get it on the floor and have it voted on.
Yeah.
And you can even
Well-
make a
Well,
motion
that's how you
and not
bring
be in
discussion
favor
in,
of it.
yeah.
And you can even second the motion just to get the discussion open.
Exactly.
Because really, you should have discussion after a motion
Right.
is made.
So those 2 people should have technically voted, and they made the assumption that it was a yes vote.
The only person that, I mean, I was at the meeting, and the only one that said no was Karsten.
Okay.
And his reason for that was, you said something about the size of the lot and the size of the house?
I think it was a community feel issue more than anything. They didn't feel that particular person who voted no felt like it didn't necessarily fit with the community there. But again, I mean, procedurally, if the majority of the planning commission approved it, that brings it to this body. This body can approve it outright, or if they want to overrule what the planning commission recommended, then that needs to be a unanimous against it.
See, I don't understand that, because if you look to the west of it, toward Second Avenue, those are all smaller houses there. And south of it is
Yeah.
where Ralph Strauss used to live, that's a smaller home too.
Two-story.
Yeah, but it's small, two-story. And then across the street too, Scott's house is a nice size, but
But
I
that
would-
goes back to what Ralph was saying about communities of small houses.
yeah,
Right.
So do we have a motion and
no,
a?
we don't.
Oh.
Not,
I
not,
have
not
a
yet.
motion
Yeah,
and a
there's a
second.
motion and stuff.
motion.
We had discussion.
Yes.
I just have one other question. Dealing with the planning and zoning, since you were there, can you suggest to them, because according to this is their minutes. So based on their actual minutes, they have a clarification problem here, because they have, according to this, you have 3 yeses, 1 no, and 2 abstained.
So remember, this is a draft, even though it just says minutes on here. They've not approved these minutes because they haven't had a meeting since this meeting.
Okay.
So they can't approve those minutes until the next meeting.
So
I
they,
can
so
clear
they
this
need
up
to
with
make a
Todd.
correction to
They can
that,
make a correction to it before they have the next meeting, and they would actually approve them.
because otherwise you only had 3 yes votes out of.
Like Matt
We
said,
can clear it up, yeah.
they may have voted yes, Todd just didn't
Right,
Yeah, it just
right,
needs to be
but if
cleared
this
out.
is the minutes, it has to be corrected.
correct.
Correct. And I'll make sure that they
Otherwise,
get
you
that.
can run into a legal problem down the road.
Can that be tabled
Pardon me?
until we find that out?
This motion, so in order for this to be tabled, the person who seconded it would have to withdraw their motion. The first person would have to withdraw. There's a new motion to table would need to be made and seconded, discussion passed. I went through that really fast, but does
Did
that make
I
sense?
make the motion or second?
Tom, you made the motion, Jen, you seconded
I'm
it.
staying with it.
Me too.
Vote,
I'm not
roll call.
changing.
Callahan?
Yes.
Houston?
Yes.
Hannah?
No.
Moore?
Yes.
O'Laughlin?
Yes,
Jensen?
Yes.
motion passed.
Just for point of clarity, I know, and I know I'm out of order, sorry, but I know Todd records those planning commission meetings too.
Okay.
So I know we have a recording of it, so at the very least, we have something we can go back on in that regard
Yeah.
and make sure that.
Because you, being a city administrator, you realize you're in for
Yeah.
a possible
I'm the one that has to work with that if
Yeah.
something's to happen.
legal situation down the road.
Yeah.
I don't sit in on those meetings. I'm not in
They
charge.
don't let you come in on,
I could go.
you
to
know,
them
you
if
would
I
have been a
want, but
valuable asset on this particular situation here, Susie.
I could attend those meetings, but I have other more pressing work that I gotta get done here, so.
Okay,
I was just
Mr.
looking
City
out for the well.
Manager, get on that.
I was looking out for the
Okay.
welfare of the city on a possible legal problem.
Oh, yeah, you
Yeah.
did. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have the curb cut request. I'm familiar with this because this is about 5 houses away from mine, and I think it's an outstanding idea. That area is where you first enter our subdivision, and people naturally have to have parking places. Many of them park on the street. And by doing this additional curb cut and building an additional driveway next to it and under his garage, it's going to eliminate a lot of street parking, which is going to be excellent.
Should we make the motion first?
I need a motion to approve the
I'll-
request of an additional
So
curb
moved.
cut on Mitchell Street.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Hannah?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
O'Laughlin?
Yes.
Well, didn't we need to do a discussion?
They should
Yeah.
ask if there was discussion before you.
Is there,
Mike just discussed for us.
well, I mean, no, there's plenty of room for discussion, but just, my familiarity with it is, I was
Okay.
really happy when he came forward with this plan, because that has been,
So-
it's been an impediment for the street department too, with the snow removal
It's fine.
So this is to have more than one
driveway.
driveway.
So the way the code reads is anytime there's more than one driveway on a piece of property, it requires council, planning commission and council approval.
Okay.
Jensen? Roll call vote.
I'm still like taking it all in here. All right, yes.
Callahan?
Yes.
B?
Did you vote?
Houston.
Yes.
Susie's gonna get it.
Gonna let me out.
You were late getting here, so she wanted you to be late on the vote.
We didn't get through, but did we?
Yeah, that's everybody.
That's- All right. Next up, we have staff reports.
Council members first.
Council members first. Let's start with Kathy J.
Well, I know a lot of people got an assessment in the mail, and they were a little discombobulated by that. I did find out today that on April 12th at 12 PM, there is 2 days from now, there's a webinar. It's presented by the Property Assessment Appeal Board, PAAB, in conjunction with the Iowa Department of Revenue at 12 o'clock noon. It will tell you what you need to do if you want to
Appeal your assessment.
appeal your property. And I don't know what it was all based on. I do know that people have kind of looked at the percentages and found that there's anything from like 20 to 26%, 27% property increases, which then they have questions about why one was 20, one was 20%, 27%. So anyway, I wanted to put that out there for people if they're interested.
Oh, yeah.
The actual email that came in does have a site that you just click right into. If anybody's interested, I can send that on to them.
Yeah. Thank you. Jen Callahan?
I don't have anything at this time.
Tom?
All is well.
Deb?
Yes, do we know when the tree dump is going to get ground out there and stuff?
They were out there working on it today.
Were they?
Yeah, streets crews were out there today, moving mulch around and working on stuff.
It's pretty full.
But it's very full, yes, absolutely.
And then, are we gonna be setting a cleanup date?
I've got that.
Yes.
I was gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
That's it?
Ralph?
The only two things I have is I talked to Matt. I was wondering where we are on the home that, was going to be condemned, but he said it went up for sale.
812 10th Avenue,
Yeah.
northeast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Todd had talked to them about it and told them that they, the results of the discussion here at the council, and that they were either gonna have to abate it, demo it, or fix it. And then right after that conversation happened, it showed up on Craigslist for sale for like $5,000. So we are to the point, the city attorney has drafted a notice to abate, and that's the next step, is to send that to them. I don't know if it's been sent yet or not. Todd was out of the office today, so I didn't get a chance to ask him about it today.
Yeah, because since it was brought up for sale, is it noted that the property's condemned?
You would hope that
On the sale?
You would hope that if an individual purchased it, that would be part of the disclosure. That's how it should legally be
It
done.
should legally be done that way, but we
private
know
party
things
transaction.
aren't always done legally.
Right.
So that was one question, and,
I can tell you from the city's perspective, even if it was to change hands, we would simply turn around and issue a notice to abate to the next
Yeah.
property owner.
right.
The conditions don't change.
So it doesn't, from our perspective, it doesn't change where it's at. It's just we'd have a different person to potentially tell you, congratulations on your new purchase, and now you got to tear it down or fix it.
And we may have
Right.
a shell company to deal with.
And then the only other thing would be a question with Crawford's. Now that the warmer weather's here, have you noticed the seeding? How it's growing, and have you been in contact with them
Along 150?
on 150?
So you can go ahead and come up, but we've had a couple conversations about this, because I've been asking them about it too. I think you were going to wait until the 1st of May, roughly around the 1st of May, before we start really getting into the season
Yeah,
piece.
that's kind of the timeline we had, just simply because that's when we started seeing some significant growth on the last phase.
It's not been warm enough yet, I don't think,
Yeah.
really.
There's a little bit of germination out
Yeah,
there.
there is a little bit,
Yeah.
little green hue.
Right.
Yep.
I saw some green. And then it's all noted on our problems on that 150 and the one drive sidewalk and everything that's collapsing. And
Yep.
did you happen to notice the curvature on the west side curb? Or did you not look at that yet?
Whereabouts are you talking about?
Right directly across
Oh.
from where the sidewalk situation is? How I don't know if they manually did it or what. But it's got a nice
If you're
little-
talking about the same area that I'm thinking of,
By the yellow house and the White House under reconstruction.
that was a day during paving that they got a wet load of concrete, and as it came through the paving machine, the curb sloughed off, and they did what they're supposed to do and stood up forms as fast as they could, and then manually had to build that back. So, yeah, that's not a straight line like a back of curb line should be, but they got to it right away to get it fixed,
Okay.
so,
So it's going to remain the way it is?
yep.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
That's it on mine.
All right. I have nothing. Suzie?
So I'll be,
She started out,
She started, okay. Yeah.
so it's okay.
Go ahead.
Sometimes things just,
so I'll be working on budget amendment 2 this week, and I'll be following timeline number 2 that I attached to the agenda. Citywide cleanup has been set up for June 10th. I'll be posting that on the website and Facebook this week and sending info to both papers. Council is invited to participate, and if you would like to help out with an event, please let me know and I will put you down.
I will do the TVs and that stuff again. And I would recommend we contact the people from Solon or North Liberty.
I've already got them all. I've got everybody set up as to who's doing
Is
what,
it the
like for
same,
vendors.
the ones
Yes.
from last year, Wisconsin guys?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you would want to give me the name of the other people, I'll be more than happy to for next year. Reach
Okay.
out, see if they'd be interested.
Sure. Matt, how about you?
The only thing I have, the water department continues to work on, you hopefully saw the notice that came out that the road over there is going to be closed. This is on North 150,
Yeah, why is it being closed till Friday?
12th Street,
by the Casey's.
They're
right by the
redoing
Casey's.
the road repair.
Casey's, yeah.
They're fixing the
So they had-
road now.
Okay.
Right, yeah. Last Friday, actually, on the holiday for us, we had several water department people out there working on it because of the failure that had occurred there. They got the water line fixed after they were able to find it, but now they've got to go back and repair the pavement itself.
Sure.
So
Makes
that's why it's going to be closed down from starting tomorrow morning, running through Friday morning. And then we talked about 8/12, that piece, and then the only other thing is, I thought I was going to be out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, but it's actually only Tuesday, Wednesday, so I will be here Thursday and Friday if anybody needs anything.
Okay.
Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll be at a conference in Ames, which is actually where I'm headed after we get done here. So,
All right.
What about the water leak in front of Affordable County?
Where?
First Street East.
First Street,
Down
Street
from
West.
Burger King.
over here.
Yeah, near Burger King.
That was leaking last year and it's back leaking again.
Yeah.
Is there a leak there? Okay. I will ask.
What did you say is leaking, Deb?
There's a water leak in front of Affordable County, runs along the side in front.
Across from the
Burger
bank.
King.
I will email Travis and talk to him and find out what the status is.
Yeah,
There was a cone out there for a long time and
yeah.
They
the
tore,
cone's gone.
something was torn up there today.
Yeah.
That little brick building.
Yep.
Yeah.
They tore up some sidewalk out there today. Did you see that this morning? They were
It's on
working
the
on that this
north
Saw
side.
that, yeah.
Yeah, north side. I saw that on the north side. There was, so I don't know if maybe they fixed that while they were.
Maybe that's
doing
what they
too.
were doing,
Maybe that's the source of the leak.
putting a new sleeve or something in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw there were city workers out there working on it.
I saw that it was torn up when I came back because I drove around a little bit after I came back from lunch, so, yeah, but, okay. I'll check, find out. I'll let you know.
All right. I would introduce a motion to.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.